This episode of the Nerf Herder Council is brought to you by Audible. Visit audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download.
Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking Nerf herder!
You can't use that word! Only we can use that word!
You're tuned in to the Nerf Herder Council, your source for Star Wars opinion, conversation, and debate. Featuring your hosts, JT.
Stormtrooper armor deflects everything except Orback hooves. They're like a horse version of Thomas the Tank Engine.
AJ.
Yeah, Rebels is a lot like our show, where we think we have a good idea and then it just fails in execution.
Steve.
The vacuum of space does crazy things to your beehole out there, man.
On this episode of the Nerf Herder Council, we dig into episode 1 of The Bad Batch. Is it a good enough intro to the show to attract the attention of fans who didn't get into the Clone Wars?
This is the Nerf Herder Council.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. With me is Steve, and literally 3 seconds ago, with us is AJ. Oh my God. You literally showed up 3 seconds before we started.
Well, the problem is that apparently my fingerprints have changed since the last time I tried to log into my computer. So Windows didn't want me to actually, do that.
Oh, you know what else changed since the last time you logged into your computer? Your microphone settings. So why don't you fix that since you're on your laptop mic and not your actual microphone?
It's not me. It's not me this time. Yay!
So behind the curtain here, Steve told us in a text message before the show, he said, I'm going to try and have a drama-free show tonight. No audio issues, no being late, none of that. And sure as shit, AJ was almost late, and now we have audio issues. And my response to him was, we can't do that. It wouldn't be our show otherwise. And here it is.
6:58. I sent that text message.
Yep. All right. You there, right. AJ? There you go. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. There you go.
Perfect.
Nice and fixed. Okay. So, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. You can get customizable Nerf Herder Council swag at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. We are live right here on Facebook and YouTube every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you cannot catch the live broadcast and jump in the chat and be part of the show with us, you can always catch the audio replays wherever you find your podcasts. Just look up Nerf Herder Council and we will be there. So check those out. I got to send out a quick thank you to both of you for letting me beg off of the show we were supposed to do 2 weeks ago, because that was very cool of you guys. Little behind the scenes, I do sing on the weekends, and I sang. It was the weekend of 4th of July. I sang Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that weekend. Like basically, it was like 130 songs or something, and I had absolutely zero voice. Yeah, that's PP amount. Yeah. I literally couldn't speak, and I asked the guys like, "Hey man, can we push this one?" And they were cool enough to do that. So I thank you guys both very much for letting me do that. So thank you.
We contemplated it for all of 20 or 30 seconds, so we were just going to do it anyways, and then it was like,
what the heck?
Well, you picked a good week. There's not a whole lot going on in Star Wars right now anyway, so.
Yeah.
So, but there is one thing going on in Star Wars right now, and that would be the Bad Batch. So.
Now that's a segue.
That's a segue. That for all you aspiring podcasters out there, that's how you do it.
Yeah, that's how you get 23 listeners.
Exactly. So, we kind of wanted to talk about that. Hey, Jim Ristway, what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for checking out the show, man. Good to see you. So we wanted to talk about the Bad Batch. I know we're a little behind. They've gone through most of the episodes, but we kind of wanted to, be able to kind of go through it in depth. Kind of watch it a few times and really kind of dig into it. The reason being, AJ, you're a huge fan of the Clone Wars series, but Steve and I, it never, we don't dislike it at all. It just never grabbed us like it did you. So I was a little hesitant to get into this because I'm thinking, Clone Wars, I had a hard time digging into that one. But it seemed pretty cool. So we thought it'd be something interesting to see if the Bad Batch is something that would grab Steve and I, considering that Clone Wars did not.
The crazy thing is I really liked the Clone Wars when I watched it, but for whatever reason, I was just never able to just religiously sit down and just binge that series. I don't know why. I always enjoyed what I watched, but I could never, maybe a day or two, I could just plow through a bunch of episodes, but then 2-3 days later, I'd go and watch something else. I could never just lock in on it the way I probably should have,
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, but it was I wasn't going, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. So,
well, the good and the bad of that format is that there were 3 to 4 episode arcs, right? So, if you could watch a chunk of episodes and then you knew that the next one wasn't going to continue the storyline. So on one hand, it's great. You can pick it up and put it down. But on the other hand, there's nothing to compel you to keep watching.
Yeah. I mean, what I did is, on StarWars.com, they released that list of how to actually watch it as if it were happening in chronological order. So I started watching in that order because I'm okay, I want to see how the story unfolds from start to finish. I know, AJ, you had told me, and you were very right about this, that, you got to get through the first 2 seasons, and then about season 3, it really starts kicking in and gets really good. And I agree with that because I think that's really when the episode started, really kind of getting interesting. I will say right off the bat, we're going to get into just the first episode of Bad Batch right now. I'm through 6 episodes, but I figure we'll just start with the first one because it's, it's long. It's almost movie length or short movie length.
Also, I've only watched the first episode and I'm currently 7 minutes into it right now as I'm watching it on my other screen right now. So I'm just kind of letting it play in the background so I can oh yeah, I remember that part. Let's talk about that.
I was going to say, let's clarify. This is not your first viewing live on the air. You've already watched it once. No. You're just referencing it while we're talking about it. So
right now, I actually this very second, Order 66 just went down.
Okay. All right.
Spoiler.
All right, AJ. Yeah.
My bad.
So, all right, AJ.
I mean, Order 67. My bad. New storyline.
It's a brand new Star Wars story. All right. So, let's go around the table and give our very visceral first impressions. Starting with you, AJ, since you are a Clone Wars fan. What was your initial reaction, when you saw the first episode of Bad Batch?
Surprisingly pleased, because as much as I love the Clone Wars, I did not like the Bad Batch introduction in season 7. The whole idea of these clones are all identical, except these. Now they're weird and they have basically superpowers. I'm like, oh man, come on! When we saw the unfinished story reels when they released them online, couple of years ago or whatever, and then they showed them again at Celebration. I was thinking to myself, and I think we talked about this on the show actually, how maybe it was a good thing that the show ended when it did, because based on this idea being where they were going to head with it, I was like, maybe their good ideas are done and it's time to put this one to rest. I'm still not on board with the basic premise. This idea of they're all anonymous clones. But now we started making special ones. Well, that's the entire opposite of what the clones were all about. So it's still, that part still bugs me, but it's fun. And one thing that I can't thank them enough for is if this show wasn't happening, then Clone Wars season 7 never would have been made. Like, it's pretty obvious. You've seen enough. You both have seen enough of season 7 to like look at this show and that show and be like, that's the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if I got an extra season of Clone Wars out of this show existing, so I'm like, okay, that works for me totally.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Well, real quick, Steve. Jim Ristway, AJ, I want to know if you agree with this. Jim Ristway says the first 2 seasons and the first half of the 3rd season of Clone Wars had a handful of episodes that are must watch.
Absolutely. Cad Bane had a great arc with this holding the Senate hostage to get, our favorite character Zero the Hutt out of prison. So, but yeah, it was great, man. He took the whole Senate. He captured the whole Senate.
So I threw the whole Senate at him. The whole Senate. You made it come out of my nose.
But yeah, that was badass. Seeing Cad Bane got a pretty badass introduction into the series, so
I thought
that's when it really stands out to me.
Okay, yeah, I would go. The Cad Bane stuff. Cad Bane is amazing. So
yeah, it's like I remember like a handful of the story arcs, but if you sat there and asked me what season was this in, I have no fucking idea. Just not even close. I remember seeing it. Is it in season 1, season 7? I don't know.
Right. All right, Steve. So your initial visceral reaction to episode 1 of The Bad Batch?
I will say, at least as a fan of bad guys in Star Wars for many years, I'd say that Star Wars has always done a good job blurring the line of like, yeah, we know who the good guys and the bad guys are, but like they kind of gave you redeeming qualities that you could attach yourself onto and like those characters. And the first thing I got from this is they did a really good job making you think that Crosshair was a complete douchebag.
Yeah.
Like there is not one redeeming quality of that guy in this episode. Like they did a great job making sure that you hate that guy after the first episode.
Yeah.
Like that was the one thing I really latched onto that I was like, wow, Crosshair is a douche, dude. Like I really don't like that guy.
Right. Yeah, there's that one little scene in the brig where he didn't really kind of blow off Omega.
Uh-huh.
And that was about the only kind of time you were like, okay. Like
And how does the episode start with all the clones just kicking ass out here? And as soon as 66 comes down, the aim goes all to shit. like at the end of the episode, like Crosshair literally has cheat codes on. They're hiding behind boxes and he can see like the heat outline on them and he still can't hit them. I'm like, this guy he's Crosshair. He's a sniper. He's supposed to be a god and he's got cheat codes on. And now he can't hit a damn thing. Like, what a loser.
Well, maybe the Order 66 thing roached his inhibitor chip a little bit.
Maybe,
it fried a little part of his brain that aims. So that's going to be the explanation.
When Palpatine like programmed Order 66, they kept telling him like, hey, this is going to happen. We're going to take down the Jedi. But the only flip side to that is these guys are going to get really shitty aim. And Palpatine was like, we'll outnumber them. It's not a big deal. We'll make this work. It's not like anybody's going to make a joke about it for 45 years or anything like that.
Right. So, all right. So for me, I loved it. I was really, really surprised at how much I really enjoyed that episode. And I'm like loving digging into the series. I mean, if Clone Wars had been like this, I would have definitely just devoured that whole series. Do
you think it helps having like a serialized format where one episode leads to the next?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always said that I'm a big proponent of that. My main complaint about Rebels is that you have one episode that follows the story and then some random crap that has nothing to do with what the hell they're doing. And it's like, just get to the point, you know?
Yeah. The filler episodes are always a problem.
Yeah. And this one is like a linear, straightforward, like, hey, we're doing this, you know, kind of like The Mandalorian. I don't think it hurt that it started out with something familiar. You know, like you said, AJ and Steve, like Order 66. So you kind of are aware of what's happening with that.
Yeah, it gives you like a perfect place to like just immediately insert it and go, okay, I know what the hell is happening right now.
Yeah.
Like, very, very easy to get into.
Yeah. So I thought it was awesome. I'm really, really enjoying it. I know it's just one season, but I kind of wish it was more. I like how Crosshair we'll talk about this at a later time, but you know, Crosshair basically disappears after the first episode. So you've got this kind of like shadow in the darkness hanging over everything for the episodes, because you're like, okay, is he just going to come out and like blow a hole in somebody's head? Like, you know, what's he going to do? Like, you know, he's out there waiting for him. So, but yeah, I really, really, really liked it to the point where it's making me want to go revisit the Clone Wars, to kind of, you know, see all the other backstory and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm digging going through the episodes. So it's cool.
And as you're answering that, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I really enjoyed it too, but the same thing I mentioned a few minutes ago got me again, where like, yeah, I really enjoyed that first episode, but then I just didn't jump into another episode yet. I don't know if it's because I was already hell bent on like trying to get through Loki or whatever the hell it was, but I never was like, oh yeah, I got to get back and watch episode 2. Like I don't know what the hell it is about it that is not keeping me like in this to keep watching it. You know what I mean? Like now,
still got that Clone Wars flavor to you.
I guess I will say now that Loki and all that stuff is done, I feel like I will just jump into the rest of these episodes, because there's 6 episodes in 30 minutes. It's not really that big of a deal to try to jump into it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, it totally grabbed me. And you know, getting into some more detailed stuff, I think they kind of teased another show, or at least left the door open for another show, because when you've got like Kanan Jarrus in there, what the heck is his name when he's a Padawan? I always forget, AJ.
Caleb Dune or Doom or something. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that and Depo Billaba, I was like, oh boy, are they setting this up? Like he disappears into the woods. You don't know what happens to him. He doesn't come back till Rebels. So now you got all this time period to explore what happens to, you know, Padawan Kanan Jarrus.
So it was that was the little dude in episode 1 is Kanan. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you bring that up though, because that's one of the things that pissed off a lot of fans. I guess they already showed Order 66 from his perspective in his Marvel comic. So, and they've already had an official canon depiction of that event, and they didn't do it the same in the show. So now people are all pissed off. They're like, well, you know, I thought everything counts, but here we've got 2 different depictions of the same event. But the broad strokes are still the same. Like, yeah, Depo Billaba dies, letting him escape. And the clones almost get talked out of it, but he has to basically escape on his own. Like the clones can't override their programming, even though they try. So
see, everything you just said just mirrors what JT and I say almost every episode anymore. If you read what happens, nobody cares. Once it's on screen and you watch it, that's the one that matters. If you read it in a book, you should always count on that not being canon at some point.
Mm-hmm. It does bring up an interesting point, though. I mean, why would
they made such a big deal about saying it all counted when Disney took this over? So for them to contradict themselves really sucks.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is like, if this is all canon, how can they have like differing versions of this? Mm-hmm. That just seems strange to me. I don't understand why they would do that.
Because they can. That's essentially it.
It's their show, damn it. They can do whatever they want.
It's the same way DC Comics released Suicide Squad, and then like 6 months after the movie came out, they were like, we're going to film a new Suicide Squad. That other one never happened.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I just we
saw the poster for that. Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is that? They already had this movie.
Yeah, we saw the poster for it. We went to see Black Widow, and we're like, what the hell?
Nope, right, the other Suicide Squad never happened.
See, total
Sorry, I'm
sidebar.
having another equipment failure. My mic keeps sagging down, so I got to like mess with this for a second. Keep talking.
Good Lord. Look at this guy.
658, remember?
I know. So, quick little sidebar while AJ fixes his crap. It's like a side thing. What? This is why you can't watch DC movies, man. They have screwed that franchise up so badly.
Yeah.
It's like everybody loves Wonder Woman, and then all of a sudden, Wonder Woman 1984 comes out. Supposedly, it's an absolute like pile of absolute.
Yeah,
trash.
it's apparently trash.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, back to Bad Batch. It is surprising that they would change, that story. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if they announce a show with, Caleb Dune and, stuff like that.
Because they definitely can. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's why they're doing these things, because they it's not to bring it up again, but it's the same thing that just happened in Loki with the damn sacred timeline and everything. Like, now they can do whatever the hell they want without having to explain anything. Now they're just like, yeah, sacred timeline. It's a branch off of it. It happens, whatever, deal with it. Like,
I haven't watched that yet. Damn it.
Star Wars is kind of doing the same thing, where they're just going to keep inserting enough things that they can just make all the stories they want and not really have to explain a damn thing to anybody.
Yeah. One of the things that I really liked about this is that you could tell certain parts are for kids. Some of the dialogue is a little bit cheesy, but it definitely has a more adult feel to me. So I feel like it definitely can work for both kids and adults. Like, as I've been famous for saying on the show, like the stuff that's just strictly for kids, I can't get into, even though it's part of the Star Wars universe. Like, I really want to, but I'm just like, it just doesn't grab me. It's just not supposed to, but I would like to be interested in everything so I can keep track of the whole timeline. But, I think this walks that line perfectly. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. The way that the characters interact and everything, I think is one of the most interesting, team oriented interactions that I've seen in Star Wars in a long time. All the personalities are really very different. I was able to differentiate them right off the bat. And usually with the cartoons, I'm a few episodes in going, who the hell's that guy? What's his name? Who is that? Like, and with this one, it was like a movie. Like, I pretty much knew right away. And I thought they also did a really good job of quickly explaining, who each character was, like actually on screen. Like, this is why Wrecker has super strength, and this is why I'm really smart, and this is why Echo, and they did it in such a way that it wasn't cheesy, and it got it real quick, bang, bang, bang. Here's who these guys are if you don't know. And, I thought it was cool. I
wonder if it says anything about me that I actually like Wrecker.
I think great, man.
The big dumb idiot. Like, I'm just like, I love that guy.
Yep. He's the Zeb of this show.
Yeah, right.
Definitely the Zeb. If I had a favorite character, honestly, I think it would be it'd be Tech. It's odd. Really? I would never have thought that, but I really like Tech. Like, he's my favorite one.
See, it's funny. You're talking about all the different personalities. I think there's the two that I have a hard time understanding why they need both are Echo and Tech, because they seem to both be like, well, the tech guys.
Yeah. Like,
one's got a friggin' droid arm. So, I mean, he's like part machine. So,
yeah,
I don't really get the need for both of those guys, but I don't know. I guess Echo was a fan favorite, so they had to bring him back somehow. I personally, he could have stayed dead. I thought it would have worked just as fine, but that's all right. No, you're right though. They did a good job of differentiating everybody, and I think it comes down to a couple of things. I mean, first, they all have like unique looks, like all their gear is customized.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, oh, he's the guy with the blue on his armor, he's the guy with the yellow on his armor. It's like, no, the designs are all different.
Yep.
Their faces look different. So they're not all the same clone face, which is cool.
Yep.
And can we just give a shout out to D. Bradley Baker? He's doing all the voices still because they're all clone variants, and they're so easy to tell apart.
I know. Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, man, this guy, holy crap, man.
They just roll the credits and they put all the character names and his name is just next to everybody.
Or just one credit.
Yeah.
Everybody. D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah, everyone.
I have expected him to get credit for Omega too.
Yeah, oh, dude, can we talk about that voice? I'm good with accents, but that one is so strong that occasionally I'm like, wait, what? Like one time she was saying tech and she said tick. I'm like, tick? Like what tick? Oh, tech.
Right.
You know, my name's Omega. Like, holy God, is that a strong accent? Wow.
A galaxy far, far away, yet we speak like we're Australian.
Yeah. Whew, man. That was rough. It was rough a couple times.
I get why they cast someone with the accent because of Tim Morrison having one, but that is a thick accent. Holy shit.
That was when she first started talking. I was like, what the hell's her name? And then it was
Omega. Yeah.
Omega. Like, what? So finally the droid said it. I'm like, oh, Omega. Okay. All right. Got it. Omega. Cool. I got this. Yeah. That was like, that was tough to understand, but I was kind of wondering, like, from all the promo stuff that I saw, like how it's going to be to have like a little kid in there. And I kind of thought, crap, this is going to be one of those, you know, the kid goes on an adventure and it's going to be like, you know, written for kids and all that stuff. But it didn't turn out to be that way. And she actually is like, you know, obviously in there for little kids, but she kind of plays a cool role. Like I like it. It's, you know, she's not too kiddie.
My second watch through, it's still just as funny to watch Wrecker hit that guy in the back of the head with the damn food tray.
A clone food fight.
Yeah, is just as funny the second time watching that guy get hit in the face with that thing.
Man, I was watching that. I was like, okay, here comes the slapstick part.
Right?
They pull yakety sacks and just throw it over top of the clone food fight. Oh my God, the Benny Hill. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Steve, you inspired me, so I fired up the iPad here. I've got it going. I didn't realize it's like 15 minutes into the episode now, and they're still on Caleb Dune.
Yeah,
like, that's a long prologue right there.
Yeah, yeah. I just think they set everything up so well. You know, it's like I really wondered how it would.
Yeah,
be.
like they did a really good job. Like if you didn't watch seasons, I gotta assume you're watching the Bad Batch because you liked Clone Wars, you know. But at the same point, if you didn't see these guys in season 7 of Clone Wars, like they did a good enough job with this that you didn't need to see that, you know. Like it obviously helps, but if this was the first thing you watched, you could easily have gotten into this without knowing that they were in a Clone Wars season.
And that's what was going to be interesting to me, Steve. Again, like as I said at the beginning of the show, you know, you and I, the Clone Wars didn't quite grab us, so I was wondering, is this show going to pull us in? Mm-hmm. You know, because you know, is it more of the same, or is it going to be something different that actually really like holds our interest?
Yeah, is it just Clone Wars season 8?
Yeah, exactly. And I think they like I said, they did a great job introing it. I was not familiar with the Bad Batch arc except for the little thing that we saw at Celebration. AJ and I was just basically schematics for the most part. And I was pulled in right away, and I could understand what the heck was going on, having had very little knowledge of the Clone Wars. So I think the way that they set that up was beautiful, man. That's exactly what you want. And again, it's making me want to go and actually watch the Clone Wars, which I think is a pretty good statement on the quality of the show, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No,
the thing that they did that was great as a bridge was, if you remember, like the very start of the episode, it starts with the Clone Wars logo and then it burns away to the Bad Batch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I thought that was like a very direct way of just being like, hey, this is part of, but not the same show as the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
you know, it's so direct to just be like, yeah, remember that old show? Well, this is a new one.
Yeah, but
it works out perfectly because anyone who tunes into this, they're gonna be like, am I watching the Clone Wars here? So it like is and it isn't at the same time, and I like that. I like that like not duplicity, but they're covering all the bases at once with that.
Yeah. I liked how they opened with the typical Tom Kane Clone Wars thing.
Yep. It's the only time you're going to get it too.
I know. I was bummed out they didn't do it the rest of the episodes. Like, I love when they do that, Clone Force 99 is going across the galaxy on a mission. Like, oh man, I need that. And instead we just got a blank screen with gray letters. Show title. Like, when I first saw that, I was like, first of all, the animation in the show is great, but I was laughing because I was like, they probably got to the end of this and we're like, crap. We didn't leave any money for show titles. Just put like a burner up there. Just put the word. And everything as a single word title.
We'll get back to it before it gets to Disney Plus. Just put something lame up for now. We'll come back to it, and then they forgot about it.
Yeah. Hey guys,
what I want to know is who's so impatient that they had to put the skip intro button on that.
Yeah,
it's like 5 seconds.
My wife said the same thing because she's not watching it, but like I put it on like when we go
You're
to bed.
You're just feverishly clicking like, get the fuck off of my screen. All right.
By the time it works, it's already gone and over with.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. By the time you turn on your Xbox controller and you're like, all right. And okay, no more. Don't have to skip now.
It's the ultimate ADHD like button.
Yeah, right.
Like, here's a 5-second intro. Skip.
I can't take it. It's too long.
F this show. I'm turning it off.
Right.
Yeah. So, back to the animation. I mean, I know we saw this with, season 7 of the Clone Wars, but I mean, I think this is even, more progressed from that. And, AJ, you and I talked about the fact that, it's just a really nice version of the original Clone Wars art, like the brushstroke looks on everything, and I love that. I mean, it looks great, and there's so many cool details in this. I mean, I get it. Like, you expect things to progress as time goes on, but I think this is better than I expected, and I just think the show looks incredible. It's got an amazing vibe to it.
I can look at
the details are great.
Where the improvements are, but nothing jumps out. But it just all looks better. Yeah.
Yeah. The details are so good. Every time you see Tarkin, his liver spots get bigger.
Well, they've done a good job making him a total ass, haven't they?
Yeah, right. I'm at the training room scene now, and they're just like, hey, you remember how Tarkin's a piece of shit? Well, we're just really going to emphasize that right now. Live rounds.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if they're really worth a damn. Let's try and kill them.
All right.
The prime minister's like, well, you might damage the clones and my facility. And he's basically like,
yeah,
just flipping him the bird by not responding at all. Like, just do it. Do it.
And, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched The Bad Batch yet, they kill 4 of them and it's the only episode. So,
The other episodes.
Boy, when they talk about a limited series, they weren't kidding. This is limited.
They gunned everyone down, and the next 10, 11 episodes are all flashbacks. A Bad Batch does not refer to the actual Bad Batch themselves. Here's another spoiler. It's just a really shitty batch of clones.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's put them to the test. Live rounds. Ooh, boy, that didn't go well. Ugh. All right, well, at least we found out before we did anything with them. Flashback to when they were training and everything. Like, I hope we can do good as clones. Me too.
Well, Mr. Tarkin, you've killed them all. Great, that's what I wanted.
Yeah. It's like a 10-minute.
How long until Book of Boba Fett?
It's like the shortest Disney Plus series ever. We waited this long for that? Oh, come on!
Right? Oh, I forgot about this part when they show the hologram of the Emperor giving his speech to the Senate.
Yeah.
And they take the actual episode 3 dialogue, but they put it to the animation model.
Yeah, I love that.
We'll be reorganized into the first galactic empire
for a safe and secure society. Voice actors, we are not.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think that was like, like I mentioned earlier, it was cool to have that tie-in, that like direct tie-in, which they've really gotten better at as they're putting these shows together. It's, kind of having that cohesiveness to them, and as the series goes on, there are other tie-ins. I mean, hell, right in the first episode, you get Saw Gerrera. So I had forgotten that he looked like that. So when he came out, I was like, who's this guy? Like, what the heck? And it was, okay, like, he's a freedom fighter. And they were like, you're Saw Gerrera. I'm like, oh, crap, that is Saw Gerrera. Like,
you're like, hey, new character time. Old character.
Yeah.
And it's the Clone Wars voice actor.
Yep. I noticed that because I think I've seen one Clone Wars episode with Saw Gerrera. So, that tie-in was really, really cool. And I think they need those things, in the live action stuff, I wouldn't say so as much. I don't know where you guys fall with this, but I think in the live action stuff, you can introduce new characters and it's cool. The animated stuff, I think, is a little harder to get into. So if you're just like, here's everything new, I think I know for someone like me, that kind of doesn't really do it for me. I kind of need that anchor, at least a little bit, into something familiar to keep me going. Where do you guys stand on that? I mean,
I kind of agree with that. And I think it's just because you and I kind of see eye to eye with the animated stuff, where because it's harder for us to get into that, we would rather get spoon fed some things we already know, where with the movies, it's kind of just like, no, just let's go with the new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Animation, it already looks visually different from the live action stuff. So I think it helps to like see some familiar characters or events play out in this style, and then it like kind of grounds it, right? Like you were talking about how cool it was to see Saw show up in this episode. In the finale of Clone Wars, not a huge spoiler, but that actually overlaps with Order 66 as well, and it shows like where Ahsoka and Rex were when the order was given. And that whole arc starts like just before. So it takes place like during episode 3, and it shows all this stuff like just outside of frame, right? Like, okay, so it places Ahsoka during that timeline and shows how close she was to like maybe when you see like Anakin shutting down a hollow of something or just walking into a room, the scene right before that you didn't see was him talking to Ahsoka, and that's shown like in the Clone Wars finale.
Yeah.
And it's really cool the way they like dice back and forth to like just stay out of messing with the timeline, but like show you things that happened right outside of like would have been on the cutting room floor of episode 3.
Yeah.
It's cool. It really helps to put that stuff like in the animated show, so you know exactly where the animated stuff fits and that it ties in with all the live action stuff.
Yeah. And that ties in with something that you mentioned, AJ, that I completely agreed with. It's really fascinating to see, okay, what happened to or is going to happen to all the clones after Order 66 when the Empire takes over. Like, how did we go from clones to just stormtroopers? It's something we haven't seen, how that transfer happens. And this is, we'll see what happens as the season goes on. But yeah, it's kind of like, you're like, holy crap. Yeah. You never thought about like, well, they got all these clones. What are they going to do with them? And, this show is, at least in the first episode, is like talking about that. It's really, really cool.
Right.
So I thought that was awesome because there's something you never saw. I like how they expand on these things that we've seen. They take like a small, like I say, Order 66 is a major event in Star Wars history, but in episode 3, it's only a couple minutes long, like execute Order 66, and then you see the montage of all the Jedi getting blown away and stuff like that. But you never really go into the humanity of it, and beyond like the Obi-Wan and Yoda stuff with the Emperor and Anakin and everything. Beyond that, you don't, like I said, getting into what happened to the clones and other Jedi that Depo Billaba getting killed by her clones and everything. And I really like that they do that. I thought that was a really cool backdrop for this series, and it's just another thing that I kind of like really enjoyed.
I'm interested to see this play out because it doesn't seem like a smart decision on the Empire's part. They had an army that was literally bred for loyalty. Like it's in their DNA to stay loyal, and yet they're going to rely on conscripts instead.
Yeah.
It just seems like a dumb move. You've already got an army built in, but you're going to build another one and put this one out to pasture.
Yeah. But
I have confidence that they will explain why.
Right.
Well, he kind of did, and this is it's. I wonder where people fall with this, because he kind of said, "Oh, but with conscripts, it's half the cost," and then, the prime minister's talking about the contract, and he's like, "That contract is with the Republic. That doesn't exist anymore." So there, you're getting into the legalities of stuff, and everybody knows that was everybody's bitch about the prequels was that kind of stuff. But it's like,
right,
now you've got Tarkin squeezing the nickel till the buffalo shits, and it's like, okay, like what is this? Like, oh, it's cheaper. Like, the hell?
Yeah.
The Empire.
There's an infamously bad arc in season 5 of the Clone Wars about the banking clan and how they're lending to both sides, but then the Separatists get leverage on them, so they charge unpayable interest to the Republic. And it's like, this is not Star Wars. We don't give a shit about bank loans, okay? Like, can we just watch some robots and some troopers blow each other up? Like, come on.
You literally, 7 minutes ago in this episode, declared yourselves the Empire, and you already have Tarkin out here going, all right, we got a cost cut, guys. We got to start figuring this out.
We did not think the finances of this through at all. Yeah. Could you imagine?
Know how much it's going to cost me to paint all that armor?
I could just picture the Tom Kane voice. Inflation, interest rates are skyrocketing across the galaxy. Common folk can't afford home loans. What the hell am I watching?
The next episode is just the Empire scouring the galaxy trying to find enough white paint to
right?
do all the armor.
That's why they're cost cutting. Yeah, they're like, we got to repaint all this armor, guys. We got to get all the red off of the ships. Like, this is not cheap.
Every one of those, every suit is just white primer. They got that far. Got that far, and then Palpatine was like, "Hey, cut that shit. We do not have the money for this. Like, it's either TIE fighters or we paint the fucking armor. Which one do you guys want?" We can't do everything, boys.
Yeah. This is not oh my god. So,
dude, do you think one of the art directors was trolling Filoni by making Tech's helmet look just like a Buckeye helmet? Like, I can't unsee that. Every time I look at this,
right?
Oh god, I just saw it.
Right.
All right.
Joseph, I'm just expecting. What's up, man?
We're gonna add this to things I'm not gonna unsee now.
Right, like every time he gets a kill now, he's gonna get one of those little Buckeye stickers on the side of his helmet.
This is gonna be a sticker, yeah.
Right. Joseph Francis, do you know how much it costs to CGI Peter Cushing's face onto my face? What's up, Joe? Man, good to see you, buddy. Man,
god damn it, AJ! They just showed him again. I'm not gonna unsee that now.
I know.
Dun, 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 dun.
Episode 2, he comes out like the leader of the marching band. He's just throwing.
he dots an eye subtly in the background. Like there's a bunch of clones and they subtly form the eye, and he dots it. Like, are you serious right now?
They're having another one of those giant Empire employee meetings out there with Palpatine on the CGI up there, and as they walk away, they're all like forming in Ohio.
They get in formation. It makes a giant Star Destroyer. They just make giant shapes like the Buckeye Band does.
I'll be damned. It looks like a halftime show at a Buckeyes game. Son of a bitch.
Their astromech is named OH-10.
Oh my god, that's awesome. So yeah, getting back to the show, another thing that I really liked about it was, you figured that they're setting everything up and whatnot, but I thought they did a really cool job of, establishing the characters for people, again, like Steve and I, like they established characters enough to where when Crosshair kind of basically turns, you're like, oh man, like it actually matters. It's not just I will piss on the piss on the sharpshooter, whatever. Like, it actually matters that this guy is, kind of like turncoating in a way.
Yeah, I'm literally at that point right now. He's got the old lady in his crosshair right now.
Yep. And they go back to the thing, AJ. Good soldiers follow orders. Like he's got that clone saying and keeps going back to. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Like, I mean, where do you guys stand on that?
For only having one episode to really establish him as a member of the group, like it was obvious from the start that he's the slimy one, but they had a connection enough that like when he turned, I was like, maybe he won't. Like it actually hooked me enough to think like maybe he'll come back. Maybe they're going to save him or something, or he'll second guess it and be like a mole on the inside. But this dude's just pure evil.
Like I said earlier, they did a great job making sure that he was an established douchebag through the episode. But at the same point, you're right, because you had that feeling that it's these 5 characters. So you're automatically going to assume that, they're going to find a way to drag him back to the group at some point. Like he's the lost soul that you got to bring back to the group at the end of the season or something,
Yeah. Like I said, like he's like that shadow that's hanging over the whole thing.
Yep.
Like you don't, he's out there. So it's like you're kind of expecting that moment of, they're about to do something good, and then all of a sudden, here comes Crosshair to F it all up, like,
right.
Like it may be kind of cliche for that to be what goes on, but you can kind of see that as that's coming, you know what I mean? Which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, some of the thumbnails give away some stuff, for future episodes. So I know some other characters that are coming in. One in particular I haven't got to yet, but it's, one of my very, very favorite Clone Wars characters. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to have that hanging over, considering you do have these other legacy characters coming in that are pretty, they eat a lot of scenery, we'll just say, like they're, and they're a big threat. So to have Crosshair out there as well, I think is pretty cool. Again, spoiler alert, but in a future episode, they go back to those families, and he ends up blowing them away, or he has, the team blow him away, and he kills one of his own clones, and he's just, he's going to follow orders no matter what. So you kind of, you haven't seen him for a while, then they reestablish him as this guy who is not going to ever back down from an order. He's just absolutely without question going to do this.
It's like, that guy you kind of forgot about 2 episodes ago, like here he is again. He's just going to kill a clone real quick, just so you remember. Right. He's a dick still, that guy.
Yeah, like they did a good job of it. Like his character seems like he would follow orders anyway without the inhibitor chip telling him to. Yeah, because he just really likes killing people, it seems.
Yeah,
like he's all about following orders, and if he gets to like take somebody out in the process, he's like, it's a good day at the office.
Yeah. It's like when they were up on that rock, he's like, ooh, I get to shoot kids. All right.
Yeah. Here goes some younglings.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
They don't run as fast. They're fun to shoot.
Yeah.
In a show like this, like you expect, like he started out a hero. So Star Wars loves a redemption arc, right? I mean, Kylo got one. Vader got one. Agent Kallus from Rebels. But I really feel like, and I have seen up to the current episode, so I'm not spoiling anything for anyone because I don't know. I feel like they've got to get to him at some point, right? Like it's not like they're never going to cross paths again. And when they do, like they're going to try to turn him back, like remove his inhibitor chip and talk him down and everything. I feel like it's not going to work. I feel like this is going to be that twist character where he's like, hey, thanks for taking out the chip. I still hate you and I'm still going to kill you.
Yeah. Like, well, I see. It's funny you mentioned that because I was kind of trying to like predict where things are going, and in some future episodes, you've got Wrecker with like the headache. He's like, "Oh man, my head," and you're thinking, "Okay, it's the chip." And, they've kind of made reference to the fact that they're trying to figure out how to get, how to undo it or remove it or something or other. So I kept wondering if, maybe like getting it out of Wrecker's head is kind of going to be like the precursor to doing it with Crosshair.
Yeah, now that once they know how to do it, they can do it better or quicker with the next guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I hope they don't bring up Crosshair again, and then it just ends like without them doing anything with him, because that means there's going to be a second season, which would be awesome.
I'm pretty sure there is. I don't think they said this is a one and done.
I thought it was a one and done.
Really? I can't recall hearing one way or the other, honestly.
This looks like a really expensive show. I don't think they'd be spending the money to make a season of Clone Wars and a season of Bad Batch out of this.
Didn't we already say that they ran out of money for the title screen? So it is expensive. They can't do any more. That's the other thing. They had like multiple seasons planned and blew all their budget in the first season. Like, who's the finance director on this show? You're fired, man. You suck.
Okay, here's a place where this show looks way better than Clone Wars. The environments. Like when they're flying into a planet and they're landing and stuff, like that could be live action. Like the leaves move and the lighting is right and there's like diffusion of sunlight and stuff shining through the foliage and all. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And yet it doesn't look too real to be part of the cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things I noticed. Like we talked about the art, it was the lighting. I noticed that the lighting is better in general. So I think they did a really good job with that. It's just like I said, the show just looks great. It's got kind of like, but then again, I kind of like stuff with a darker vibe, and this kind of has that for me. It's a little bit, they're not in a lot of sunshine a lot of the time. So you've kind of got that environmental kind of foreboding that I kind of get into. So I like that. I think it's cool. So it'll be interesting to see how they progress with it. Like I say, how many episodes are there, AJ? Do you know? Cause like I say, I'm through 6.
There's going to be 16 in this season, and they've put out, I think, 12 or 13 of them so far.
16? Mm-hmm. Wow. Boy, this is all in on streaming, by the way. I've noticed like the run times are a little different. There's no obvious commercial breaks, so they're not planning on sending this out for syndication, I don't think. Yep. Yeah.
And I think that works to its advantage. If they need 40 minutes to tell this week's story and 25 to tell the next, okay.
Man, that's crazy. I did not know it was going to be that many episodes. That's good, though.
I seriously thought it was probably like 8 or something.
So I can actually catch up and then watch it week by week instead of having to go through and binge the whole damn thing like I've been doing with everything else.
Mm-hmm. That is one thing that pisses me off about all this. We're getting awesome stuff on Disney Plus with all the Marvel stuff and Star Wars, but like, don't you miss like 16, 20 episode seasons of stuff?
Yeah. Instead,
it's like a month and a half. It's there and gone. Like,
yeah.
Yep. It really must be more cost effective because you got, Loki was what, 6 episodes?
6.
Mm-hmm.
And Falcon and Winter Soldier was 8. The Mandalorian seasons were both 8.
No, Falcon and Winter Soldier was only 6.
I thought it was 8.
Mm-mm. WandaVision got 9. That was the longest one. And even still, that's all crazy short.
This is
like for a season of television to be like 5 hours long.
Yeah.
I guess with all the CG and stuff that they're doing, I guess it makes sense cost wise, but 16 episodes, that's awesome. That's awesome. And if it's not a limited series, then that all the better. Because if this season keeps going like this, then I'm all in on more of this stuff. Like I would definitely watch this like all the time.
Well, based on where it's at, with how few episodes are remaining in the season, it's either going to be one hell of a rushed finale, or they're not wrapping up after season 1.
Yeah, they get this.
Like you got 3 episodes to answer everything you've unraveled in the first 13. That's not happening.
Yeah, I'll have to see that once I get that far, but all right. Well, that's all I got. What do you guys have? Any final thoughts on episode 1 of the Bad Batch or the Bad Batch in general?
Not yet. I'm 53 minutes into this episode, though.
Funny, we're 53 minutes into the show.
Right? Oh, damn! I'm 8 minutes behind you. They're just talking to Saw. Anyway, no, I think it's great. I can't wait to come back and talk about this once the rest of the season is done and you guys get caught up, because like I said, it'd be fun to predict what's going to happen with Crosshair, but I don't know yet, and I feel like we're going to get at least that answer by the end of the season.
Yeah. I think, dude, we should do like a live watch along the final Friday. Just like let everybody know what time we're going to do it, and just everybody get on and watch it and all react to it live. Have a bunch of people jump in the chat and everything, and like kind of like be like, holy crap, look at that. Like, wow. Like,
we can do that. I mean, I'll probably have only watched the first episode and the last one at that point.
Yep.
Let's see. So that would be, I think, the 13th. I think that'd be Friday the 13th.
Maybe.
Ooh, I think I'm available that night.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this week is what, the 12th episode, AJ?
I think the 13th one.
So 13, 14, 15.
Let me see.
Yeah, 16 would be August 13th.
I'm looking at the menu right now. They got 12 episodes out right now, so we're getting episode 13. So I think we're a week off, actually. Yeah, so we got 13, 14 is the 30th, 6th is... Wait, yeah, exactly, the 13th.
All right. Well, we should set that up to do a live, react. We'll just set a time. We can all just hit play at the same time and do a live reaction and have a bunch of people in the chat and all talk about it as it's going on. Like a live react to the Bad Batch season finale.
Yeah, I'm sure we can make that happen.
We'll have to set that up. Oh, what's up? Look at this. Dan jumps in right as we're about to jump out. What's going on, man? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for checking out the show. So
yeah, what's up, Dan? We're ending. That's what's up.
Yeah, the show is over. So yeah, let's do that. There we go. Joseph Wren. Friday the 13th, Jason takes on the Bad Batch. That's when Crosshair comes back.
Yeah.
Crosshair's going to come back, and you're going to think he's going to join Jason's team. He's going to blow Jason away. It'll be the final demise of Jason Voorhees. He'll be killed by Crosshair from the Star Wars The Bad Batch.
He survived space, but he can't survive a galaxy far, far away.
Exactly. So, man, look at this. Oh. Our uncle says that he was blocked from entering comments. How cowardly. Face up and take the constructive criticism you deserve. Look, he's smiley facing and poop emojiing us. That's the nicest comment he's ever given us on the show.
Yeah, actually, I'll take it.
Thanks, Uncle Tom. Much appreciated. All right. So anyway, on that note, we'll close up shop for this week. Thanks again, guys, for being cool about 2 weeks ago. I appreciate it. That was very helpful.
By the way, you did a great job framing up the background to make sure that gun held up your microphone the entire episode.
I didn't even notice that.
Dude, I actually looked to see if you found some way to do a little overlay on the picture, because the base of your microphone perfectly looks like the muzzle of the gun.
I did not even notice that. Holy
pretty
crap.
Outstanding there, yeah.
I've been looking at that for
it doesn't work.
15 minutes. Also, after yelling at AJ and what I've been watching over here for 53 minutes, I just now caught on to the fact that Buckeyes helmet's been in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen the entire night.
I didn't even see that either.
Man, we're finding Easter eggs all over our own show. Damn it, Joseph Wren, what'd I tell you about mentioning Purgles? I hate those fucking things. Stop mentioning Purgles. God. This guy, he's going to troll me every show, man. Lucky we're friends, dude.
I can't wait for those to show up in this.
Oh, they better not.
We didn't even cover everything. We barely talked about Omega. All we did was make fun of her accent.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it again. We can do a couple episodes about it, and then, like I said, we'll do a live react to the final episode. I just got to figure out. I was going to pull it up on my tablet, but Disney Plus keeps shutting down when I do it on my tablet, so I literally may have to bring it up on my phone and just put it in like a little holder up by the camera and do it that way. But, we'll have to see. So,
yeah.
Anyways, thanks everyone for checking out another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. As usual, we're brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. Customizable Nerf Herder Council swag at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. We are live right here on Facebook and YouTube every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you can't make the live broadcast, to jump in the chat with us and be a part of the show, as our good buddies Dan and Joe did today, just check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for the Nerf Herder Council, and we will be right there. You name it. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're all over the place. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at NHC Podcast. The website is nerfherdercouncil.com. So until next time, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579.
He is Steve.
At Nerf Herder Steve. I almost said my old one. Damn it.
That's okay. John forgot to say his.
Oh, yeah. I'm your host, JT, at Dog Pound Jedi. So there you go. And we will catch you next time. You ready for this, Steve?
This bucket of bolts is never gonna get us past that blockade.
This bucket's got a few surprises left in her. Plus, me and Chewie are on it. Ain't that right, Chewie?
Hell yeah, you my Nerf herder.
You my Nerf herder.